Here we go. Welcome. I'm going to now have the event officially open. Thanks for coming and participating in that networking experience. I hope you got to know a few people for the first time, or people you already knew a little bit better. I'm going to ask one of our board members, Professor Deborah Turnbull, who's based in South Australia, so a local to this South Australia WA gathering, to open the event officially for us. Are you there, Deborah? I'll switch to speaker view. You need to unmute your microphone.
I was there.
Actually, we haven't left her in a breakout room, have we?
Okay, here I am.
Yeah.
Here I am, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for participating in this event. Let me begin by personally acknowledging today that I'm on the land of the Kaurna people, and I'd like to personally pay my respects to the Kaurna people, to the elders, both previous elders and indeed our present and our emerging elders. And also to acknowledge that we will be on the lands of many different people today. I want to thank you for joining in with this, and also to thank Glenn and Sharon for setting it up, because it is a new experience for us all, and I'm really confident that we're still going to get something really worthwhile out of this. So thanks so much, Glenn. Back to you.
Thanks, Deborah. And I also want to acknowledge that we have Godfrey Baroni, who's a board member of ours, who's in WA. So we have both states covered. Do you just want to say good day, Godfrey? If you can unmute your mic. I know you can't get your camera going. We'll make sure that Godfrey says hello at some point. Yeah, so we've got Godfrey from WA as well. And yes, you'll have noticed, the observant amongst you, from my accent, that I'm not from around here. I'm a Queenslander. So I'm dialing in today into your states from central Queensland, and I'm on the people of the Bunda, the Balai, the Gureng, and the Gurang mob between what we call Bundaberg and Gladstone. So we have nominated award winners for both South Australia and WA, and the way we do this is that we start with the state. Now I know there's a whole sort of South Australia, Western Australia thing that I've just created. I know there's a bit of tension. Which one is the fourth biggest state? Is it WA? Is it SA? And I don't want to be seen to be giving favoritism to either state by picking one to go first. I'm just going to say that what we do is we go with the state which has the most nominations, because then that speeds up the process as we go through the day. So for that reason alone, and for no other reason, no favoritism, not because we're saving the better state till last, we're going to go with WA first. So, and I just also want to acknowledge all of the team have been involved in making this happen, including myself and Sharon and Kim, and our team of volunteers and international interns, including Shrufi, who is in a moment. I've just realized, Shrufi, I've not made you a co-host. So I need to make Shrufi a co-host so she can share a very important slide with us. Bear with me, Shrufi. I had all that time when you're in the breakout rooms. Here we go. Shrufi, I'm going to make you co-host, and Shrufi will now share a very important slide with a list of names from WA. Here we go. So, in the past, we've started off the National Men's Health Awards as a celebration of work nationally at our national gathering every couple of years. For those of you who don't know, Australian Men's Health Forum dates back nearly 25 years to the first National Men's Health Gathering in 1995. And in recent years, we've been having an awards event at our conference, like many sectors do, which were focused on acknowledging national contributions. Last year, for the first time, we thought we'd have a go at doing state and territory-wide to see if there was enough projects out there to actually run a decent award event. And we were astounded by how many different kinds of projects were out there. And not only that, we did a public vote for the first time, and we were amazed at how many people voted. Our sector is very broad and diverse. We're not just medical health. Really, put simply, it's anything to do with improving the lives and the health of men and boys. Men and boys of any background, any stage of life, and all of the people who've been nominated are either individuals or organisations who are working in some way to improve the lives or the health of men and boys in Australia. This year, we thought we'd go a little bit further and see if we could attract nominations from a broader range of categories in every state and territory, not expecting to get a nomination in every category for each state and territory, but we did, and more besides. We had over 100 nominations in total, and over 5,000 people have voted on these different nominations in a public vote. And what we're going to do today is acknowledge all the people who've been shortlisted and name one winner for each state who has won the people's vote and got most votes of all. And on Friday, we're going to announce which project or individual in each of these 5 categories is the national winner. So to our contenders, just because you don't win the WA or South Australia votes today, there's still an opportunity for you to win a national award in your category. So hang on in there till Friday. Right, let's start with the local Men's Health Hero Award. Now, some people will be in the room, and where they are, I'm going to give them the opportunity to say hello so we get to see them and acknowledge them in person. If I don't see you as I glance around this Zoom room and I mention your name, do please shout out, or other people shout out as well. I don't want to miss anyone. I don't know, who's behind the letters IPA. It could be one of our attendees. Who's number 6472? Could be one of our nominees. I don't think I've seen ever Grant or Uncle Mick.
Yeah, I'm here.
Is that you, Uncle Mick?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic. I'll come to you in a moment, Uncle Mick. I'll just acknowledge Grant Westthorpe, because I'm not sure if Grant's here. No, so Grant, for those who don't know, is an absolute mainstay on the Western Australia men's health scene. Has been instrumental in running the Albany Men's Resource Centre for over a decade now, but also has produced some great resources. The Men's Survival Guide, which he then turned into an app, and created the Wellman Tour, and has taken his work promoting healthy lifestyles for blokes beyond Albany, not just across WA, but even further north than I am, up into far north Queensland. So a worthy winner of the Local Hero Award, who's not just doing great work in his local area. Another absolute legend in the world of men's health, and I'm going to say not just in Indigenous men's health, but all men's health, and not just in Australia. He's a man that contributes to conversations around the world, and someone, if you've worked in the world of men's health, to be a great man. It's Uncle Mick Adams, and I'm delighted to see that Uncle Mick has been nominated in the category. It's Local Men's Health Hero Award, but in some ways he's a global men's health hero. Uncle Mick, are you there? Could you say a few words?
Yeah, Glenn, I'm here. Thank you for the nomination. It's really good to get recognised and mentioned. I've been in the area for about 34 years, and 35 years, starting off from our inaugural Aboriginal Men's Health gathering in Ross River in '99. It was the third National Men's Health Conference. So I've been involved since then, worked in men's area, did research and wrote a number of articles on that on men's. The program we just finished is Value and Young Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Males. We did that with the North Queensland mob and Darwin, Northern Territory mob, and a few in West Australia. So we've done that. We're looking at working with that. I see Gary on there. Work with Kutsi as well on a few things, and yeah, been involved with a lot of things. My research for my PhD was on male sexual reproductive health through then Andrology, who's changed their names to Healthy Males. Yeah, we're looking at, that was I think one of the biggest research project with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander males. So we got 300 males doing a 30-page questionnaire. So that was pretty good.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm with Health InfoNet, and I'm still leading their way in regards to men's health. We've got, over the last 3 years, we've done about 5 chapters. We've got, well, that's by myself, and then we did some with Kutsi and other, James Smith and a few others that we're involved with, yeah.
Yeah, and I just noticed on the slide there, it's Dr. Mick Adams, isn't it? So we've
Uncle Mick to everybody.
That's right. I know you don't not want to stand on ceremony, but I do want to acknowledge your achievements in the academic space because you've been a real pioneer there, and I know just how much because you're a pioneer, how much is demanded of you, how you're always called upon for that sort of Aboriginal men's health perspective, and that puts a huge pressure on you. But you're always there to help and support others. You've certainly I know personally you've welcomed me into the men's health sector ever since I've been in Australia, and I'm really delighted to see you acknowledged for the great work that you've always done and continue to do, Uncle Mick.
But also, as you mentioned, Glenn, it's not only my forte is Aboriginal males, but I look at it all males as well. I think it's imperative that we all work together.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
try to do the right thing by everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Uncle Mick. Great to hear your voice.
Thank you.
So coming next to the lived experience category, we're really keen to promote the idea of blokes telling their stories in service of helping other blokes. And one guy who shows up really large doing that in WA is David Dyke. G'day, David.
G'day, Glenn.
Go on.
First of all, I'd like to give an acknowledgement to country. I'm on Whadjuk Noongar land, and I'd like to say Kaya Wanju, that's hello, welcome. And I'd like to recognise elders past and present. I've been involved in making a short film on my journey with prostate cancer, and since I've made the film, I've gone out talking to different support groups around the place, men's sheds, the West Australian Men's Gathering, retreat with Good Blokes Co. And just before COVID hit, I had organised a sort of circuit to go down south, Bunbury, Busselton, Albany, and then come up inland through Narrogin. COVID struck, so I'm in a little bit of a waiting game as to when that'll happen again. In giving all the talks, I've found that women are actually involved in a lot of emotional pain associated with it, which I didn't initially recognise. So that's something I always include now in the talks. The other thing I'd like to encourage men who get prostate cancer or diagnosed, ask all the questions you can. Ask the doctor, ask if you're in a health benefit fund, ask them about getting a discount, because you can get a discount if you push them. Thanks, Glenn.
Right, thanks, David. Thanks for being here, and thanks for the really important work that you're doing. Next, we have Best Men's Group or Programme. There's a couple of contenders here from WA. First, I don't know if anyone's here from the Regional Men's Health Initiative. I know they're always out doing work in the community and always very hard to get hold of. just scanning around the room. So for those who don't know, Regional Men's Health Initiative do fantastic work taking health promotion out to blokes. They do things like the warrior training and the pit stop health checks, and they're rarely found in the office or on Zoom. They're out in the field talking to blokes about their health, and a real deserved winner nominee in this category, not just for WA, but I think their work is very significant in terms of demonstrating that male-friendly approaches to engaging men can work. And another project which is following those male-friendly principles actually been imported from the UK, which is normally the UK sort of taking Movember and the men's sheds and all the great Australian ideas into the men's health sector. So, you know, it's nice to see we've got at least one idea that's okay for the Aussies, and it's Man v Fat Soccer. Tim, do you want to tell us about that?
I'd love to, mate. Well, first of all, big thank you to you, Glenn, for organising this event and for all the stuff for the last few weeks. I've been lucky enough to be involved in a couple of the sessions you've been running, and it's really, really awesome stuff. So thank you for that. Man v Fat. So basically, we're a men's weight loss program. We target males with a BMI of over 27.5. The way that we encourage weight loss is through each week, the guys will turn up. They'll turn up for a game of soccer, but before they play their game, they'll actually conduct a weigh-in. And when they do their weigh-in, they'll get a bunch of diet and weight loss and exercise advice from a weight loss coach at the site as well. They'll play their game of soccer, and at the end of the night, the results from the on-field game will actually get combined with the weight loss results. So essentially, they manage to score goals by losing weight. That's kind of the crux of the program. So the very brief history, I suppose. We started with the pilot league in 2018. As Glenn mentioned, we sort of poached it from the UK. We've got an agreement with the Man v Fat football team over there. Pilot League was very successful, and then we were lucky enough to have some funding partners jump on board in Healthway and Sport Australia, and they've been amazing in helping us actually expand this program. So we've now got 9 leagues across WA, 1 in South Australia as well, actually. We've lost nearly 4,000 kilograms, and it's, full steam ahead.
Great work. Thanks for being here, Tim. Go and check out the Man v Fat Soccer League. It's coming to a recreational ground near you soon as it spreads across the country faster than coronavirus. So we're going now to a new category, which is women working in men's health. Let me first say this. Do you know what? We are proudly unapologetic of the fact that most of our gatherings are more blokes than women. In terms of, the world of health and social care, there's more women working in those spaces than men. And our sector has been, very much built by blokes helping blokes. And we're really proud of that, and we really celebrate that. And there's a lot of amazing women doing amazing work in men's health. And sometimes they can feel like maybe they shouldn't be there because it's a bloke space. You even get people asking sometimes when we say it's a men's health gathering, we get women asking if they can come. And do you know what? There's 2 groups of people that we support. We come together as a community of identity as men and boys. And that's really important. Secret men's business, men gathering together, blokes helping blokes. It's a big part of our sector. But we're also a community of interest. We're people who are passionate about improving the lives and health of men and boys. And boy, are there some amazing women out there doing fantastic work. And we thought, should we see if we do an award, if we get any nominations? And we've been inundated with a real wealth of amazing women doing fantastic work across Australia. We've actually got 3 from WA alone. I'm going to go first to Connect Groups, which is a peak body working with peer support groups. It's actually done work specifically focusing on how can peer support groups be more male friendly. So very worthy nominees. And did I see Christine from Connect Groups? Is it?
I'm going to talk. Is that okay?
Yeah, whoever. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Christine put in the nomination for me. Yeah, so Connect Groups is the peak body for support groups in WA, and we've got over 600 support groups. And the work that then we conducted actually came from our members themselves, and following on from David's comment, and it was around the fact that even the prostate cancer support groups were predominantly led by women who would then provide the information back to the men. And so it came in of how can we engage more men in support groups and to take care of their health. So what this eventually led to was a resource which is around how to effectively engage with men, but it is actually being compiled by men for men. The only role that Connect Groups played was to really see the value and to coordinate and to facilitate the conversations from both organizations that were predominantly men's service driven and from men themselves, you know, Inclusive Fathering Project, Mates in Construction, and so forth. And I think us as an organization, which just by chance we are 9 women, really like to move from a space where there tends to be this myth that men do not seek help when they do, and about how can we make a difference around ensuring that as they seek that help, that the services that are provided to them meet their needs and therefore very specific. So it's about moving away from I heard this the other day and it really aligned to what we do here in Connect Groups, is moving away from that statement that says women seek support and men die, to men seek support and men thrive. And I think that's where we're going to continue to really advocate for the voice of men and really looking at changing some of those systems, which we believe, hearing from men themselves, that they're really not meeting those needs. So we're really happy that there was this award, and we humbly enter into this space, and can tell you that we're surrounded by fantastic men, and this resource is their voice and not ours. Thank you.
Fantastic work. I didn't get your name because you're coming up as Connect Groups.
Yeah, it's Antonella. I'm the CEO.
Antonella, thank you so much for being here, and thanks for the work you've done. We must post a link to your resource on male-friendly approaches, because I think it's an excellent resource. We'll make sure we.
Thank you so much.
So next we have Joe Milios from Men's Health Physiotherapy. I only heard about through this award, but actually since then we've actually been online together talking about prostate cancer. And Joe, I'll let you explain who you are. I think I saw you here.
Unmute myself.
Yes.
Thanks very much, Glenn. And just like the others have already shared, just like to really thank you for this opportunity. I certainly didn't anticipate being nominated for anything like this, and it really is quite humbling. So thank you. I'm also pleased to see all these familiar faces also recognised here with Antonella and David Dyke, and you know, the regional men's health initiatives groups that I work with already. So it really is very much a team effort, and I personally am actually a little bit embarrassed to be sitting here, and I'm sort of used to working in a clinical setting, I guess, and I always have the opportunity to learn most of what I learn from my male patients, and so I always feel like I'm just sort of representing them when it comes to any public speaking opportunity. And as a female, I know that I'll never experience what the men themselves are experiencing. So I've always felt a little bit duty bound to just try and help their access to programs and support be that little bit easier. So my own experience, basically I was a musculoskeletal physiotherapist, and doing all of that until about 15 years ago, when my brother, who was a urologist, invited me to come and spend a bit of time watching him do surgery for prostate cancer. And at the time I really was quite fascinated, and learnt very quickly that there was a lot of work that needed to be done in this space, because men were dealing with impotency and incontinence for, I guess, the cure of cancer, and that left them with really a lot of the time struggling, poor quality of life issues. And I felt it was something that I could potentially help just by listening mostly, then I found out there was a massive gap in my own profession. There was this huge area called women's health and no such thing as men's health. So without really aiming to, I've quickly gathered about 800 patients of caseloads and found that there was a lot of men in distress. I presented some of my observations at a conference, urology conference, and then I was encouraged to do a PhD to try and formalise some of my findings, but to help develop programs. That then led to me be a bit frustrated with the academic process, and I wanted to set up a support group at the end of that PhD process, but I was told it would take about 7 years to get my research out and about. So I set up PROST, which was a prostate cancer exercise and peer support program before I started PhD. And my goal with that was to try and encourage men who were potentially suffering. Compared to the breast cancer story, there was a lot not happening for guys, even though prostate cancer is more prevalent than breast cancer in women. So the PROST program is an exercise-based peer program that's been running since 2012. Anyone diagnosed with prostate cancer hopefully feels supported in a fairly low-key environment. Personally, I set it up in people to go. I don't actually run it. I leave it to the guys. But we've been able to do some really solid research now. PhD is finished and the research is out there. So it's really been my privilege. So thank you.
Thanks, Jo. Sorry to cut in there. It's wonderful work you're doing, and great to have met you in this very short period of time and discover the work you're doing.
Thank you.
No, thank you. That's great. And as with so much of Australian life, there's this big sort of East Coast bias, and I include my own perspective in that. I do try and get over to WA every year, but we're reliant on our networks to sort of feed back to us what's going on. So what's been really nice about WA particularly is that there's a lot of names here that we hadn't previously known, because the men in our networks, for example, in this women working in men's health category, is the men in our networks who've pointed to the women who are doing great work, such as Megan Davidson from Buddy Up Australia, who was recommended to us to one of the men in our networks. So Megan, would you like to say hello? I think I saw you here somewhere.
Unmute.
Yes.
Hey everyone. Yeah, new to the, I guess, this forum. So thank you very much for the opportunity. A bit of background for those that don't know who Buddy Up Australia is. We're an organisation supporting veterans as well as emergency services personnel. So unlike other organisations in this space, we're not a crisis support. We're not, advocates. What we do is provide connection and purpose for our members, and as you can imagine, in those fields it's predominantly males. So I'm ex-army myself. I'm very familiar with working in very male dominated areas, and I've seen the impact of that work on them. So I guess a few years ago I thought we need a solution, because there's a lot of men, as you know, that don't seek help, and we've already heard that from the other speakers, that often they will just quietly suffer to their detriment and to those around them, their detriment to them. So we looked at a model in the US, Team Red, White and Blue, and have modelled off them, and it's research based, so saying that through connection and purpose and providing that identity, they will obviously their mental health will be better than if that's suffering. So we aim to provide that, and we do that through the physical activities that we provide, but also through volunteering. So the idea being that when people provide service to others, they obviously feel a sense of purpose and identity. So we're also hoping that by attending those, like the Men's Shed model, which is fantastic, you're actually getting an opportunity to debrief, to chat to someone in a less formal, in more of a peer support role. So yeah, that's where we're at. So thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you Megan, and thanks Buddy Up Australia. Great to see you as part of these awards this year. So final category for WA is significant response to COVID-19. You've all have heard of COVID-19, and we've been amazed how in just the space of 3 months, so many organisations, many of them voluntary or on small budgets, have responded in innovative ways to the COVID-19 challenge, and we wanted to acknowledge that. And two projects that were named over in WA are the Fathering Project. Anyone here from the Fathering Project this year? They were winners of the overall award last year because they started in WA. They're now a national organisation, and one of the many things they did was create the Fathering channel to connect with connect new dads to support and conversations whilst they couldn't run the real world groups. And then Changing Ways is a family violence program, came to us via the men's outreach service up in Broome. I don't know if anyone representing that program is here. If you are, now's your time to shout out. But yes, so Changing Ways, dealing with some really, tough issues of family violence. So working very closely with a lot of men struggling with some significant issues, and all of a sudden couldn't have those men in groups and one-to-one. And I've done some amazing work building online resources, social resources, and reaching out on a regular basis to keep those men safe and those around them safe. So. Want to acknowledge them for the work that they're doing up there in Broome. So it's not all perf, We've had one nominee down in Albany and another one up in Broome. We've covered a fair amount of your glorious big state. So what we do now is this is all about the popular vote. The national awards that you're all still competing for are voted for by a judging panel to create some equity between those who've got great following and a great fan base and those who may not be as well known but are worthy of acknowledgement. So so today is all about the popular vote. Who managed to get most people from around Australia voting for them? We'll let you now know who the top three is first, in no particular order, just looking down at my notepad. And this is where we need to do the virtual sort of claps and thumbs up. But use Zoom, do whatever you want to make a noise. I give you the top three in WA is Man v Fat Soccer with Timothy Branston. We have Connect Groups, and we have Joe Milios. And the winner of the 2020 WA Men's Health Awards is going to be announced after the South Australian shortlist. Oh. Did you see what I did there? Not having you WA lot going home and leaving the SA lot here. You've got to hang out for the result. So they listen to you. You've got to listen to them. We're building bonds across boundaries here. We're working together online. So Shruti, if you've got the South Australia slide ready, please. We'll find out who the shortlist is for South Australia. So starting at the top of the list with Local Men's Health Hero Award, another candidate who's come across our radar in just the past 12 months, it's Callum McPherson of the Young Blood Men's Health Matters podcast. Callum, just let you tell us who you are, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, Glenn. So Young Blood is a platform for young men aged under 35 to share their stories pertaining to going through and overcoming adversity, generally relating to mental and physical health. We've had amazing stories from young men all over Australia from a whole range of different backgrounds, speaking on as many different topics as we can come up with. I know it's really important to be inclusive of all men and not focus on any one group. Our goal is to engage men with their health before it becomes a real problem. So it's a preventative health strategy. And we're trying to create a space for men to be able to share their stories or just to listen and know that they're not alone with whatever they're struggling with, and that there's other people out there going through something similar. And perhaps to hear stories of people who've been to rock bottom or really struggled but found a way out of it. And that plants the seed for them to then go and have conversations of their own. We've published our 30th episode today. They're generally an hour long and started last September. So that's been a really, the thing that I'm most proud of in my life. And it was sparked after losing a mate to suicide at the start of last year.
Yeah, thanks, Callum. Sorry to hear about your loss, and thanks for the amazing response that you've had to that tragedy and the difference that you're making. And I know from the feedback that we saw coming through with the votes that there are a lot of people out there who really value what you're doing, and listening into those programs is making a difference in their lives.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. It's really great to get that feedback, and I think everyone can agree that that's the most rewarding thing is hearing back from the people that we're trying to reach, that whatever you did or had a part in resonated with them and made them think a bit differently. So yeah, that's means a lot to me. So thank you.
That's great, Callum. Thanks for being here, and congratulations. This year, I think one of the things I've realized is that we need to have a new category as well, which is for content creation. Content creation isn't just about sort of, sharing some internet memes and posters and things. It's actually about generating really meaningful conversations that people engage with and make a difference for people. You're an awesome content creator. And what we're starting to realize, especially with the younger generation, is there are a lot of really interesting content creators who are generating conversations about men's health in new and innovative ways. And I think we might look at whether we can do a content creation category next year. And it will be, we might have to call it the Young Blood content creation category.
Don't get too carried away there, Glenn.
No, steady on now. Steady on. Yeah. For a small fee, of course, Callum. So, best men's lived experience speaker. Anthony Hart is someone who came on our radar around about this time last year when we were down in South Australia. And one of the great things about doing this on an annual basis during Men's Health Week is you can start to sort of measure and map the growth of different organisations and projects and individuals over time. And he was already doing great work back then, but we've just seen how Anthony has gone from strength to strength. Building programs and initiatives, again, built, as like Callum just shared, built from his own lived experience, but now making a difference for men all over the state, but also, again, crossing boundaries too. And so because he's driven by his own lived experience, Anthony is a very worthy contender in this lived experience category. Anthony Hart, I saw you earlier. Have we lost you? Oh, what a shame. So if he's not here, go and check out Anthony's work. He's doing a range of things. He's it's in the kind of community mental health suicide.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes.
There I am. Sorry about that. Yeah, look, thanks, Glenn. You've done a fantastic job putting on all these posts or these events. It's been fantastic. I started doing this 2 or 3 years ago out of a lived experience. I made a serious attempt on my life 17 years ago, and I started my journey sharing my story to men's sheds and corporates and factories, and that resonated. I talked about 4 steps to better mind health, which I gained some traction. It won the state government Department of Premier and Cabinet Award, and so we, without even wanting to go into an organisation and doing it full time, it ended up becoming a life passion. We built a Life Back Tracker, 4 steps to better mind health, and that's a digital app, and it tracks your exercise, alcohol, sleep, and I had SAMRI, which is the South Australian Hospital Medical Research Industry, put together 8 questions that rate from happy to sad how you're feeling each day. So it's not a clinical cognitive behavioural therapy questionnaire, but it was devised by SAMRI to give you an idea each day of roughly how you're feeling. And so I'm all about numbers and graphs and trying to predict outcome. And so built on that, I then progressed into doing roadshows. So Save Our Mates is our community wellbeing roadshow that we've rolled out about 45 different talks through the PHN SA Country, which is a federal government institution that fund us to roll out community roadshows across Eyre Peninsula, York Peninsula, the Riverland, and different outback areas.
Fantastic work, Anthony. I'm just going to post a link to Save Our Mates in the chat box there so people can have a look at that too. So next we have Best Men's Group or Programme. I've got a couple of contenders here. Delighted to see we've got the Freemasons Foundation Centre for Men's Health, who are just doing such amazing work, completely committed and dedicated to improving men's health, and two of the very committed people, both Marg and Professor Gary Whitted, are in the room. Who'd like to take this one? Is it over to you, Prof? You there, Gary? Oh, we can't hear you, Gary. Just unmute yourself. And take two.
Thanks, Glenn. I'm blown away by everyone. I was hoping that Marg would do it because she doesn't represent any one particular group within the centre.
Yeah.
And there are so many of us. I think it would be great if she did it.
Great. Marg, would you be happy to do that? We'd love to hear from you. She's turned the camera off. No, yeah, go on, Marg.
No worries. Well, no, thanks, Glenn, and we really do appreciate and are very humbled by the nomination. For those that don't know us, just in brief, the Freemasons Foundation Centre for Men's Health is a multidisciplinary research network. South Australian scientists, health practitioners, consumers, volunteers, students, and we're all working together to build, undertake research and also build capacity in men's health research. I suppose I should just mention the Freemasons, because as the name suggests, the centre was actually an initiative of the Freemasons of South Australia and Northern Territory back in 2007, who recognised then the need for a sex-specific approach to advancing men's health. We, in partnership with the University of Adelaide, the centre sort of builds capacity in men's health research by supporting and developing young scientists and also students through men's health research fellowships and scholarships. And it also provides catalyst funding for men's health research initiatives that we believe have merit. But the centre's core business is research, and we focus on knowledge generation to provide an evidence base for new preventative health strategies, for advancing health service delivery, and for improving methods of preventing, screening, diagnosing and treating all those conditions in men which impose the greatest health burden. We're obviously also about empowering men to take better control of their health and well-being, and we particularly focus on groups of men with high disease burden. Our research program spans basic science, clinical medicine and population health. We have currently a really strong biomedical and behavioural psychology research focus, and we've been running a longitudinal male ageing study for nearly 20 years now. We look at anxiety and depression, prostate cancer, lower urinary tract symptoms, low testosterone, sperm health, sleep and chronic disease, and health services, just to name a few. So we're very multidisciplinary and quite well spread in terms of the diversity of topics that we research. And I guess the last priority for the centre is community engagement and education. And so we're out there as much as possible as researchers, working with communities and giving talks, and obviously working with our national and indeed our international stakeholder organisations like yourselves and the Global Action for Men's Health to advocate for men's health and to encourage a cross-sector collaborative approach to advancing policy and practice. And we really thank the AHMF for advancing our cause in that regard, bringing us all together as we are today. So as I said, we really appreciate the recognition of our contribution over quite a few years, 13 years now, for men's health research. And thanks, Glenn, again, and all the team at AHMF for this initiative.
Great, thanks, Marg, and thanks, Professor Gary Whitted, too, for being here. And on a personal note, can I just acknowledge your friendship and support, both personally but as a member organisation. At a time a few years ago when we didn't really have many strong connections in South Australia, you were a strong and loyal member, and that's so important for us to be able to do the work that we do at a national level, because we can't be in every state and territory, but through our members and through our networks we can be, and we can work to have a collective voice for men's health at a national level where it's so important. And we can only do that by the connection and support of organisations like yourself. So thank you to you, and also thank you to all the members who are in the room today. So, and also in the Best Men's Group or Programme category, we have the Southern Men's Gathering. I'm going to go straight to Ben Butfield to let us know what the Southern Men's Gathering is all about.
Thanks, Glenn. G'day, esteemed colleagues. The Southern Men's Gathering, simply put, folks, is a weekend initiative that aims to improve the psychosocial well-being of men. The weekend runs, it's just a Friday afternoon to a Saturday afternoon. We very much challenge, I guess, the still predominant culture of hypermasculinity, where men tend to isolate, men don't connect, men don't talk about where they're at, men aren't talking about how they're feeling. So we challenge all of that. And surprisingly, we find that if we set the context up well, that men actually love the opportunity to go deep, to connect with one another, and to be open and vulnerable. We're a new organisation. We only started last year, so we've got our second gathering this year. Like what's happening with these awards this year, we're built on kind of national collaboration. We have inputs from kind of Tasmania, New South Wales, WA, and Queensland. So I'm huge on collaboration, and I've had a lot of support from a number of different men around the country to help me get this organisation going. This year we're excited. We've got a small reconciliation an initiative that's happening as a result. We're connecting with a couple of different Indigenous groups. We are about to have a number of Indigenous and white fellows sit together in circle and just see where that goes. So already there's a whole lot of new initiatives that have come from setting up our organisation last year. That's it for me, guys. Thank you.
Great, thanks for being here, Ben. And I just want to acknowledge Ben for his contribution to one of our Men's Health TV programs. If you don't know about Men's Health TV, go on Facebook, search Men's Health TV. It's a channel we're running throughout Men's Health Week. And our 5 p.m. program is called the Men's Circle Meetup, which I've got to be on in 29 minutes. So we're going to have to get a bit of intention, but I don't want to rush. I want to actually really acknowledge that men's circles and men's gatherings are a really important part of the men's health tradition, particularly in Australia, in both Indigenous and non-Indigenous communities. And I'm working really hard to keep those groups connected to this conversation. And it's great to go from the medical, academic, really important research-based approach of the Freemasons Foundation through to the sort of get out on bush and get in a circle and get around a fire and do some men's circle work. I think, you know, those two things, they're not at extreme poles. They're all overlapping and integrating, and it's great that in our sector we can have people from those different traditions in the same space. Yeah, I've got another circle coming up in 29 minutes. I'll be changing a shirt and changing tempo, but before we do, let's give full honour and respect to everyone who's been nominated in South Australia. So the women working in men's health category, really delighted to see Jane Higgins, who's doing such awesome work working with boys, right, through the Odyssey programme. Jane, do you want to say hello?
Hello, everyone. I'm a Zoom virgin, so you know, bear with me. I'm very honoured to be nominated with such great amount of fantastic people who are doing terrific work all over Australia. We're very blessed to live in our country and work on Indigenous land that we do. So I've been running the Odyssey program for over 12 years now. We work with adolescent boys, specifically from about year 7 up to year 12, all over Australia, based in South Australia, but I have teams in Victoria and that as well. It started from a young boy who was suicidal, who I met in a park, and from that, this birth of this organisation began. So we're non-denominational, which allows us to work in all different types of schools. We're non-commercially affiliated, which is also great. So it allows us flexibility in how we deliver in that as well. Highly engaging workshops, lots of music, lots of activities, group work, interpersonal time as well. It's a one-day program. We also work very much around respectful relationships and And masculinity, what does it mean to young boys? How do they want to redefine it? Is what they're seeing in media what they want to take forward in their future. And we also support the LGBTIQ plus community as well, and we work with, you know, students in schools who may be marginalised for a variety of reasons. We're putting together an Aboriginal program at the moment for a school here in SA, which is really exciting as well. So lovely company to be in. Thank you so much for having me.
And you did just fine. So I'm glad you've got some practice, because I know you'll be joining us at the Working with Young Men Symposium next week.
I'll see you next week.
See you next week, and it won't be your first time. You'll be an expert.
I will be such an expert.
Good. Okay, last but not least then, in the significant response to COVID-19 category, another organisation which has kind of rippled up and burst onto the scene in the last sort of 12 to 18 months. And this is representative of a kind of a new tradition that's emerging in the men's health sector. There's something happening out there, a bit like 25 years ago when the men's sheds movement was emerging, and there was maybe 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 sheds in the late 90s, and they'd all sprung up individually. And now we have more than 1,000 sheds in Australia, more sheds than McDonald's, and the phenomena has spread from Australia around the world. Right now, there is this emergence of the men's mental health movement. It's things like the Man Walk. It's things like Mr. Perfect Barbecues. It's things like the Tough Guy Book Club, which won the award in Victoria last night. It's things like men's tables in Sydney. All sorts of local community-led groups that younger blokes, when I say younger, under 65, younger blokes are setting up and creating communities of peer support in different innovative ways at the local level. And one such organisation is INAT. I'm not afraid to talk. Bang, COVID. But they weren't actually deterred by that. They took to social media. They've been creating opportunities to connect online, and which means that I do things like sit on Facebook in central Queensland and watch a bloke interviewing the mayor of Whyalla. Who would have thought? So I hope you're there after that big build-up, Jez. I think Jez Edwards from INAT is in the room somewhere. Are you there,
Yeah,
Jez?
I'm here, mate. Yep, I'm here, mate. Right. Yeah, first off, it's amazing to be in, well, not in the room, but in the Zoom chat with all these amazing people, and it's amazing to hear all the work that you're doing. It's very, you can hear the passion in your voice, which is absolutely amazing. So INAT stands for I'm Not Afraid to Talk. We founded in March 2018. We ran our first event, and it was just, INAT started with footballers from every football club in Whyalla, South Australia. From there, we've since grown. We're trying to work out yesterday. We started just as a bit of a group that support the males and drop the stigma, and we started through some lived experience talks. And from there, we're working out yesterday, I think since March 2018, we've done 87 lived experience talks, plus we run workshops. We run 2.5-hour interactive workshops with football clubs, men's sheds, sporting groups, stuff like that drop the stigma and create conversation. And then, yeah, so the COVID stuff, we got a bit of a stamp on a bit of a halt to the work we were doing. We couldn't actually do our workshops and do the face-to-face with people. So we went to online INAT chat, which was just doing online live interviews over a Facebook forum with people from the Eyre Peninsula, South Australia, and then it's all actually stemmed into doing some interviews with a bloke over in Japan and stuff like that. So, yeah, and outside of that, we do the INAT chats, we do the workshops, we do the events and all that sort of stuff, but we actually catch up with anyone that reaches out, any bloke that reaches out to us, we catch up with them one-on-one, and then we'll take them to their doctors to get set up on mental health care plans. If they're younger than 25, we'll take them in the headspace to get them set up and stuff like that. So, yeah, cheers.
Fantastic. Thanks for being here, Jez. Great work you and the guys are doing at INAT. Very deserved, very deserved. So, with speed, but with great intention too, I'm going to first announce the shortlist for South Australia. So, big congratulations to all the nominated organisations and individuals, but only 3 can make it to the top three, and they are in no particular order. Callum McPherson of Youngblood. Let's have claps and hands and things, please. We have, you've just heard from him, Einat, Jeremy Edwards, and third on the list is Anthony Hart. And the winner in South Australia, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to announce, will be revealed after the WA one. So we've got to keep the tension building. So we have a special way of doing this. Let me just say that thanks to our fantastic admin team, you will be, the check's in the post, everyone. You'll be getting, the very least, you'll be getting a certificate of appreciation for getting this far. And you're all still in the running for an award on Friday. So come and join us at the Nationals. Now, in true Zoom style, we reveal by the screen share. So we're going back over to WA, where, to remind you, we have Joe Milios, we have Man v Fat Soccer with Tim Branston, and we have the wonderful women of Connect Groups. So I think we've got the slide ready. So let's have some tension. Let's have some virtual drum rolls. Bang on your own tables, bang on your own laps. I am going to reveal my screen to reveal the winner is... Congratulations, Joe, for your awesome work supporting men recovering from prostate cancer and for setting up that charity Prost. You are our winner this year in the people's popular vote. Oh, I'm showing you my desktop there. So I'm going to stop sharing. Joe, are you still there to say just a few words if you under your microphone? Go ahead.
Thank you. I'm quite taken aback, feeling a little shaky. Thank you. I'm really, really, really quite touched, and I don't really have much more to say. That it just means a lot to have the opportunity of having this education process spread a little bit further. So just thank you to everybody.
Right. Well, great to be connected to you now, Joe. Can clearly see how much this means to you, and I hope that we can support you in any way we can to help you spread the work that you're doing, because I know you're really keen to get it out further and wider. So if we can help in any way, that's what we're here for, to spread things through our networks.
Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, very welcome. Look forward to getting to know you better and working with you wherever we can. So I'm now going to do the same for South Australia. To remind you, we have Jez from INAT. Virtual drum rolls, please. We have Callum, Youngblood Men's Health Matters, and we have Anthony Hart. And the winner this year is in the people's vote for South Australia by the sharing of a screen is... Are you still there, mate?
I am fantastic. It's an honour, and I said to a few people before, you don't go into this stuff to win awards, and my big passion is to try and stop people doing what I nearly did 17 years ago. So if the app that I've done helps, and if the road shows work, it's a good give back. So thank you very much.
Great. It's amazing how much your work has grown and spread in the last 12 months. And I just can't imagine what it's going to look like in a year or 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. But keep doing what you're doing, Anthony.
Thank you.
It's a winning formula. And again, if we can help in any way to support and spread the work you're doing, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Same thing goes to everyone who's present. If you want to grow and expand your work, we want to try and help that and enable that to happen. Thank you so much. I would love to have been wherever you are now. I'd love to have been with you, but that would have been a bit weird because I would have been in all your houses. But next time, I hope we'll actually do this face to face, and we'll have a whole bunch of new projects and organisations that we don't know exist right now. I'm going to go to Professor Deborah Turnbull from our board to say a few words to close the event officially.
I'd like to thank you all again for joining us today, and especially thank all of those of you and congratulate those of you who won awards, and in fact those of you who didn't, because I think that it just goes to show the breadth of the contribution that's being made, which is particularly telling given our current circumstances. So again, thanks and congratulations to you all, especially the winners, and thanks also to Glenn and to our team, including Sharon, who's online here. Thank you.
Thanks, Deborah. And Godfrey, I've just noticed that you've got your camera on. I don't know if you get your microphone on. Yes. Can we have your microphone on, Godfrey? Because you're our board member in WA. It'd be good to have a word from you to finish off too.
Just looking at it, Glenn, and all you people out there, it is amazing to see the good work that is being done by really ordinary people in all over the place. You know, just servicing men across the board, from older men like me to younger men like Glenn. It's fantastic. So again, keep up the good work, everybody. And it's because of each and every one of you and all of us working together that we men can have a healthy and prosperous life. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Godfrey. So that officially is the end. We normally finish about 4:30, 4:35, and I'll give you about 10 minutes to mingle.